This is the New York City FC Pregame Live. Tonight, New York City head to TQL Stadium to take on FC Cincinnati. And now, here are your hosts, Glenn Crooks and Roberto Abramowitz.
And there is the lovely TQL Stadium. Total Quality Logistics. I knew you wanted to know that. A Cincinnati-based logistics company. They've had the trade name since 2021. That's a year prior to the arrival of Pat Noonan and his coaching team, which certainly turned things around here. And then you've got the Bailey. That's the name of the supporters group. They're starting to fill up that standing area here as we're a little over an hour before kickoff. And I'm Glenn Crooks. There's Roberto Abramowitz. In for Matty Lawrence today, although Roberto coming to the good side on the English commentary side. But
excuse me?
He will be heading back to join Ariel Judas a little bit later on for our pregame shows, which begin today, the live commentary at 7:15 Eastern. I've got Pascal Janssen, and Roberto has Julian Fernandez.
No. Andres Perea. Julian was last week.
Okay. I get confused.
Yeah.
So Andres Perea this week. And then hopefully he'll get Nico Fernandez Mercado soon enough. I think the lineups are going to be handed to us so we can make this official. Nothing too shocking for the New York City Football Club, that's for sure. And Roberto is looking at the roster sheet intently to see if Brenner is on the bench for FC Cincinnati, and we know he's not, but we need to check anyway.
Yes, we do, but no, he's not there. But they do have a couple of different lineup choices, and I thought they might have. The good news for them, Yuya Kubo is on the bench.
Yeah.
So, and Tine Tadebe, who some had placed on the starting lineup, is not there. So, but Alvis Powell is. So they decided to use Powell on the right and not Hadebe on the left of the middle three defenders that Cincinnati is going to use.
Yeah. Well, it's Lucas Engel is going to play part of that three back. And so, some of the people that were predicted to be in the 11 by those that even follow and cover FC Cincinnati got it a bit off. But this team and lineup will look completely different a week from now. FC Cincinnati has quite a depth chart, and today they host the New York City Football Club. This is the 19th game, all competitions in the series. Remarkably, a year ago they played 6 times. I mean, that was crazy.
That was fun.
3 of them were the best of 3 playoff series, which thanks in part to Matt Freese and Micha Ilinic. New York City advanced, Freeze with the 3 saves, Ilinic with the game-winning penalty, getting it past Roman Celentano after he gave him a smirk, a smile, and whatever else he did in that moment.
That was pretty cool. I mean, for him to have ice in his blood that way, to be able to, in that moment, at his age, to go up to Roman Celentano, who said something to him, and him smiling away, because I think Roman told him, shoot it here. And he was like, I'm cool. and then he put it past him and won it for New York City.
So that's the last game played here in Cincinnati for New York City FC. So fond memories there. But after this series started with New York City winning the first 6 games, it's 2 wins, 3 losses, and 2 draws in their last 7. And a big part of that is Pat Noonan and his coaching team. But before we get to some of that, Roberto, let's go back to New York City defeating Nashville at Yankee Stadium. First thing we know, and because we sat through it and we tested our endurance with a 90-minute weather delay, and both of us stayed on the air for the entire time there. And I just think that a number of things happened in this game, and the first of which, after suggesting that these were 10 cup finals that needed to be played, starting with last week's game, New York City came out flat. And in 10 minutes, Jacob Schaffelberg had given them a 1-0 lead. That is Nashville. And things didn't turn around until a hydration break at about the 30-minute mark. They had started to get the game a little bit before that, but it really took hold after that. And I think that's the second hydration break I can remember, Sporting KC, the other one, where the team came out with a different energy, man. I mean, I'm not sure what Pascal says in these hydration breaks or the other assistants, but it was effective.
It was, but also Pascal, and he mentioned it to us on your radio preview, and you'll hear that on the English broadcast, that he was really disappointed and if not shocked at the way his team came out, because they've been talking about how these are 10 finals for the rest of the season. And all of a sudden you come out and there's no energy. You're playing at home and you have them score on you within 10 minutes. I mean, that for him was absolutely shocking, as it was for you and for me and for Matty Lawrence and for Ariel Hulas and pretty much anybody who's a New York City supporter as well. Because that when you're playing, right, with games like this, where you absolutely need to win because your attempt to make the playoffs absolutely depends upon this, you can't come out that flat. And they did. And so there's a lot of soul searching that he's going to have to do to understand what he needs to do to motivate the team correctly so they come out on fire. But it also comes down to the leaders on the field. And tonight they get one back, which is Thiago Martins, who's the habitual captain for the team. And it's great that he's not only back, but he's going to be in the starting lineup for New York City. So I think that is going to help. They need the vocal leaders of the team. Maybe they need to get after some people. Maybe they need to do it quietly. Maybe they need to pat somebody on the back. But whatever it is, they need to get this team fired up from the kickoff so they take it. And tonight they have to take it to Cincinnati.
Well, after going down a goal, Andres Pereira scored his second of the season in the 40th minute. And then Alonso Martinez in the 77th minute from Agustin Ojeda to make it his 13th of the year. His 7th game-winning goal, which ties him with Kevin Denke, who also has 13 goals and is also in the building tonight. He's the starting striker for FC Cincinnati. So you've got matching strikers, at least statistically here. But, Roberto, I'm going to show the goal because you had a particular comment about it, and it kind of relates to also what Pascal Johnson said about this Alonso Martinez, who his expected goals are a lot higher than what he's scored, but he still has been a godsend for New York City.
But it was a different kind of goal from Martinez. I think we don't think of him as a poacher so much, but I'm wondering, did he take another step himself? I know you're looking for the air game to improve or maybe some quality there, but we haven't seen him score goals like that too often.
No, he's determined to score goals, and he has a preference in movement as well. We all know if an opponent plays with a lot of space behind their defense, you better get your running shoes on defending Alonso. But this run he made in order to score this goal is something that we've been talking about quite often now, because it's a straight corridor run, and you just have to make sure you get at a certain place at a certain time, and just trust the guy on the wing in the assist zones that we have on the pitch to supply this cross. And as you've seen against Nashville, everything was spot on, and we got the goal.
Yeah, so it's nice to see Ojeda get in number one, and we're going to have Pascal describe Ojeda's movements in a bit. But you were declaring, and you could talk through this. Here is the Martinez goal. It's the game winner.
So what I want everybody to look at is the middle of where Martinez is going to score, and watch his run. And there it is, the determined run. And knowing that he's going to get across there, or expecting he's going to get across there. And just like he was going to, no matter who was in front of him, he was going to get to that ball first. And again, as you watch it closely, watch the run and the power. It's all out from just inside the penalty box. Once Ojeda starts going to the byline, there it is, or to the end line, there it is. And then Ojeda, great technique to use the outside of his right foot to be able to put that cross in. One would expect it to be a left-footed cross, but he used the outside of his right foot, put it low, and that's exactly where Martinez was to be able to put the New York City tie the game, actually put him ahead 2-1.
It was the game-winning goal, 77th minute. That was it, man. And I want to point out one other little thing here, because what I'll describe in commentary sometimes, Roberto, and what I used in coaching, called a box organization. So if you have 2 or 3 players in the area, don't occupy the same space. So I want you to watch Fernandez Mercado, who is running almost alongside of Alonso Martinez. He's to the left. And do you see how he pulled up? And it formed a triangle. And that's what players are taught. Try to make it a triangle so that if Ojeda had chosen to cut that back, he would have been in position. Let's look at it one more time.
And he also goes to the near post. He cuts off to the left to the near post.
So
and he held back and then near post. But
so
yes.
it's small, but it's also vital that you have options for the person delivering it. And those are the little things you look for. And that's, Fernandez Mercado can play soccer. I mean, there's a little question of that. And his delivery is something that the Cincinnati back three is going to have to be very, very in tune with.
Yes, and that's going to be who's going to be on their back three on that side?
It's going to be Nick Hagelin on the right. Matt Miazga moves into the middle. Miles Robinson is out with a calf injury, suffered in the last game against Portland.
Brad Smith
and then
has
Lucas Engel will be the left central defender.
Yeah,
so,
and also running up and down the wing is going to be Brad Smith.
Yeah.
So he's going to have a hard time, Brad Smith. And if he starts going forward a little bit too much, then Mercado is going to have a lot of space down that side. He's going to pull that defense apart if they don't take care of him.
All right, well, that's one thing for us to look for as we provide the pictures for you through our words. If you happen to be syncing us up with the video, that's cool too. And on the New York City FC Network, again, our pregame begins at 7:15 Eastern. All right, Agustin Ojeda, third consecutive game with a goal contribution, all competitions. So here's Pascal, part of my pregame interview with him regarding Ojeda.
But that's the thing, and I mentioned that after the game as well. Agu Trapo has to realize that he has so much potential, and he has this blank check to go at defenders. So we try to get him in the best possible positions in order to go at defenders, like he did with his preparation for this goal. And of course, he has to find a balance at some point in order to recognize if he attracts like 2 or 3 people to his side, that he is aware of what happens in the middle or the opposite side.
Sure.
But this moment shows that once you leave Agustin in a 1v1 like this defender did, you have to prepare yourself.
And then when there's space behind, he's the kind of player, wouldn't you just like to see him push the ball past the defender and run on the other side?
Yeah, and he's capable of doing that on both sides. So, and if you go back to how he prepared this goal, it's a cross with his outside right foot, not with his left foot.
Yeah.
But in general, Glenn, it's like, okay, when we have our attackers in the areas where we can enjoy them the most, they have all the freedom in the world to go at defenders and do whatever they please.
Well, you can't hear anything more rosy if you're an attacking player when the gaffer, the manager, the guy that makes the decision said, you've got freedom, man. I love that. A blank check to go at them, and he, Ojeda, along the way has still seemed reluctant. And maybe this is a moment where he's broken through. We'll see. He's on the bench tonight, so it's Hannes Wolf who will get the start, but I would imagine we'll see him.
Well, the goal against Leon really helped him. He talked to me for one of my pregame shows, and we talked about the fact that he had gone 37 games, over 1,600 minutes without scoring a goal. And I asked him if that weighed on him, and he said that he did. And I said, so who did you talk to? And he said, I spoke to my teammates, I spoke to my coaches, I spoke to family, trying to get myself, back where. But it was bothering him. There was a weight on him because of the fact that he wasn't scoring, that he wasn't contributing the way that he expected himself to be contributing, and he put pressure on himself. So the fact that he scored that goal, really gave him some relief. And then in the next 2 games, you could see him playing a little bit more open, and he's got 2 more assists. So he's starting on the bench because, at this point, he's a bench player because you're not benching Fernandez Mercado and you're not benching Hannes Wolf. So he's going to come off the bench. But the fact of the matter is, and we've seen this, Pascal trusts him to go in and make a difference before Julian Fernandez.
That he does. But they also are playing on opposite sides as the coaching team prefers. It's always Fernandez on the right and Ojeda on the left.
But you can move Wolf either way, and they've done that too.
Yeah, yep. Good adjustment, and that's TQL Stadium where Roberto and I are here on our NYCFC pregame live. We are on an hour before kickoff every game to present some of the interview clips, some highlights sometimes, and then pictures of the place that New York City is going to play today. I love the standing. It's of course the greatest is Dortmund's yellow wall. But,
that is amazing.
But I like the standing section. That's becoming a trend. And I think it's very cool.
Yeah, this is one of the first stadiums to put it in. They did it in Orlando as well. And then they switched over Sports Illustrated Stadium, and they redid that for the Red Bull fans. And New York City will have its own standing section only for, Los Templados, Third Rail, and New York City FC supporters. So they're going to have it as well. The noise that comes from those areas, pretty impressive. We got to say, and this stadium is just stunning, just absolutely stunning. There isn't a thing about this stadium that I would change. Not a thing. 25,513 seats, and they fill it up most of the time. This year, they're averaging 24,582. Not bad.
And it's got a great cover. I mean, it's the proper way to build a stadium. A lot of the supporters, if it were raining or there were inclement weather, will actually be underneath the roof. And, very European feel here. And even though we're in the Midwest, where everybody is so polite.
They are.
Not always used to that.
They're not used to you, I'll tell you that much.
All right.
Saying thank you and please doesn't hurt. I just thought you should know.
I say all that stuff. I'm a kind man. Brenner is back with Cincinnati. He will not play in this game, as it was told to me by somebody within the club. Next week's lineup's going to look a lot different for FC Cincinnati, and I would imagine Brenner will at least be on the bench. They've also acquired Polish winger Dominik Marchuk. That's important because they shipped DeAndre Yedlin to RSL, and it was Marchuk, who's a 21-year-old Polish international, who's coming from RSL. So it was a swap of right backs in essence. One a leader and certainly somebody that was very important in his time here for FC Cincinnati. But it's an area where, and you heard a lot of reporters this week ask about the departure of Yedlin and what it means to the team, the locker room, and all those different things. There's intangibles there, too.
They are, and it's surprising because, he's a good player on the field. Here's somebody who's been with the U.S. national team as well. So,
I will say this. Pat Noonan in his presser, his exact words were, it was not our choice. They didn't want him to move. I don't know if you knew this. I didn't know it until this morning when I heard it. And it was more trying to take care of Yedlin's wishes for whatever the reasons. And RSL helped work it out. And but to make it clear, and it comes from the head guy, Pat Noonan, they did not want to lose DeAndre Yedlin. Look, New York City did not want to lose Burke Risa. Sometimes, and it sounded very much like the New York City Football Club is with players who maybe desire to move back home in Burke Risa's case, and will accommodate them, which I think it makes sense rather than have an unhappy player.
Right. I think it helps recruiting too, by the way.
Yeah.
Because if a player is coming to a team that may not value them enough to be able to respect their wishes of where they want to go after, they're not going to play here, or even if they were, then I think it speaks volumes of the team in a positive way. And I think players would be more than happy to go there if that's where they're sent.
Yeah, no, it makes a difference. And the word gets out on those sorts of things. Just one thing about Brenner. He's not going to be in the game tonight, but he really did well here in his time. He didn't do very much at all at Udinese in Serie A, so now he's back. 18 goals over his final 19 games of the 2022 regular season. He and Brandon Vasquez together, the first pair of teammates in MLS history to record at least 18 goals each in a single season. That was part of the remarkable turnaround under Noonan. This is a franchise that in its first 3 years of MLS existence, they were pouring out their soup with a wooden spoon. And it was a time of desperate need for one to get a new team in, and that is on the coaching side and sporting side. So the Dutch went out, and the Americans came in. Now we've got the Dutch in at New York City FC, and I think we both believe Pascal Janssen is at the top of his game as a manager and has done really wonders with this unit this year. What do you want to say?
Sure. No, I was going to tell you that Brenner in Udinese, in 2 years, in 2 seasons, he only played 19 games. One of them was Coppa Italia, and he only had 2 goals and 2 assists in 19 games. I mean, in 2 years. Considering that in 2022, for instance, he had 18 goals in 31 games for FC Cincinnati, all of those in MLS.
He also scored the very first hat trick for the FC Cincinnati franchise. Remember who that was against?
Oh, yes, we were here.
We
in
were
one
here,
of the
right?
crazy,
Right
wildest games. I mean,
was.
when you ask about what are some of the craziest, wildest games you've ever seen, that's got to be top of your list. That's got to be up there.
Well, if you're down 3-0 on the road and you come back and make it 3-3 at the half.
In stoppage time. All goals in stoppage time.
Thank you for that's amazing unto itself.
And they were all ever.
And then early in the second half, what was it,
Gabi
Pereira. He put New York City up 4-3, but then Brenner got his hat trick, and it was 4-4 the final. 4-4.
Oh yeah, it was in this stadium. It was one of the more spectacular games that we have seen. I mean, the fact that Eber got that hat trick in stoppage time is crazy. It was so good.
Eber is the all-time leading goal scorer for the New York City Football Club against FC Cincinnati with 6 total goals. And remember this last week. So when Maddie was with me last week, this happened.
But these 10 games now, especially today, Glenn, with 3 games in hand on most teams, or 2 or 3 teams, with 2 games in hand on the others, you've got to take advantage of that for me with those games in hand and really make them count. Look, it's so important for me.
Hey, we have a special guest listening in. Look who's here. It's Eber.
Oh, nice.
That's Eber checking us out. Eber, hello. How are you? We think of you often, and it's nice that you're listening in. And then hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining us. Eber, if you're still with us, great to see you, my friend.
Always.
And we will be happy to join you for the broadcast in just a few minutes. Enjoy the game, everybody. So that was last week, Roberto. I don't know if you'll if you're watching, just send us a quick note. But it was really really nice to hear from Eber. And we've got the starting 11 rolling in the bottom third of your screen. If you're watching, if you're just listening, Thiago Martins in for Strahinja Tanasijevic, and that's it as far as changes. And I suppose. This really is the lineup.
Yeah.
I don't know where there's wiggle room, I suppose, depending on form, but this is your 11 probably the rest of the way, because there are no more players are going to be added to the program. Now where Raul,
aside from Raul Gustavo.
Well, he's already been added. He's just not here. Yeah. So Raul Gustavo, he's the one where we're not sure where he might fit in. If he goes to left central defense, that would probably push Justin Hackett to the midfield, and then somebody's going to suffer. And is it Pereira? Is it Aiden O'Neill? But the group right now is performing pretty well together. So
they are, and that's a good thing. I mean, it took a while. There was a lot of ups and downs that the team had throughout the season. It was one of the more inconsistent teams in MLS. And then in the past month and a half or so, things just seem to be on the rise. And I mean, time enough, because they've got to really fight for playoff spots. So right now, New York City's in 8th place. They're ahead of Chicago by only 2 points, but they're behind Charlotte by 3. They're behind Columbus by 4, and Inter Miami by 4 as well. Orlando, they're 6 points down. Now, the caveat here is that New York City has played 2 less games than Charlotte, 1 less game than Columbus. They've played 1 more game than Inter Miami, and then they've played 2 less games than Orlando.
Yeah, they've got games in hand on everybody but Miami. They're not overtaking Miami, or if that happened, that would be the story of MLS this season.
But there's a shot that this team could wind up in 3rd or 4th place again. I mean, they had the shot last year. They didn't take it, but they can do it this year.
Well, we understand the level of opponent coming up. Now, you've got DC United. That's a trap game if there ever was one, next week at home at Yankee Stadium. Then at Chicago, a team fighting for a playoff spot. That's going to be very difficult. Columbus at home. That's the rescheduled game midweek. Charlotte then on the weekend. So it's a cramped schedule, followed by a Wednesday game against Inter Miami, and then the derby against the Red Bulls. By the way, the Red Bulls do not have a midweek game that week. So not only do you have this jammed schedule, you're going to have a fresher Red Bull team at home, Sports Illustrated Stadium. So I'm not looking, you can look at this in a number of different ways. The fact is that it really does have to be one match at a time, because if you look ahead, it gets daunting, because then it's at Philadelphia.
Yeah.
and then
Seattle at home.
Yeah.
It's not an easy schedule, but New York City has punched above their weight against teams with winning records. And the reason that they're in 8th place and they're not higher is because they've struggled against a lot of teams that they shouldn't be losing to, like Montreal twice.
Yeah. No.
I mean, if they had those 6
question of
points, New York City would be at 47 right now, tied with Orlando and Nashville, having 2 games in hand, and they'd be right behind Philadelphia as well as 51. So, that's key.
Hudson River Blue put out something interesting. New York City is undefeated against the top 5 teams in the Eastern Conference. Cincinnati, Philadelphia, Nashville, Orlando, and Miami. So, to your point, tend to maybe rise to the occasion. It's a big occasion here. It's TQL Stadium, where New York City will be playing FC Cincinnati. Our airtime is 7:15 for the pregame show. That's Eastern time. I wanted to make a mention, NYCFC 3, Columbus 2 in MLS Next Pro at Icon Stadium. And Sebastiano Musu, remember how much fun we had watching him recently?
Oh, yes.
That was at the Sporting KC game when he made his club debut. He assisted on the game-tying goal and the game-winning goal for the New York City FC 2 team. And remember, Roberto, we were wondering why, or we were hoping maybe we'd see him a little bit more with the first team, but it's that short-term loan deal. He's had 3 of them. And I remember I pulled this out because I thought this was funny from Pascal Jans. But this Musu, it was interesting because, and again, it's a very small portion of time that we've seen him. But I haven't had that feeling when the ball gets out on the wing, or like you almost like rise a little bit, like, whoa, something's going to happen here. Something's going to happen. Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, exactly the same. And that is something that we've seen in the games that we visited for the second team. I was very curious if he was able to do the same or similar things at first team level. So we saw him in training. He's fearless. He tried to do exactly the same. So that made me very confident once the game was at a certain point that we needed this energy in the attacking line, that Musu is a guy to be considered. And he didn't disappoint us because the moments that you described just now within 20 minutes tells you the story of how much impact the kid had on the game. And unfortunately, it didn't get us the result that we were looking for, but the impression was there.
And you're in a tricky spot with him because it's the short-term loan thing.
That is the one thing I don't understand within the MLS yet. So,
there's more than that.
Yeah,
there's more than that.
I had a sense you were going to say that as well. But those are the things I'm trying to get my head
something
around.
Called the MLS All-Star Game, and I think deep down you're very thankful that you had your whole team with you and that no one was selected. Now, you're not.
I have no comment.
Okay, so the point is there, it's like short-term loan. Can't use a kid that's in our program. So that's a little confusing to understand. And I think he's got 1 short-term loan remaining, and then they'd have to do the same thing, I guess they did with Seymour Reed.
Exactly. And here's hoping that MLS, as they adjusted the rules on these players this season, which allowed them to have 2 short-term loans before they have to sign them, that they readjust it again and let them have, several games where they can play and show. I mean, the whole point is that you want to see them if they're good enough or not. And if they are, then, they're going to get contracts.
Yep.
Give them a chance.
One final thing, James Sands played his second game since coming back from what was a severe ankle issue and surgery with St. Pauli. Played 87 minutes, and they played to a 3-3 draw against Dortmund. The Gio Reyna Les Dortmund, who is now teammates with his great friend, who he played in the New York City Academy with, Joe Scally at Gladbach.
Yes, and so here's hoping that Reyna earns minutes and that he makes a difference for the team and puts himself again in a position to be part of the main roster of the U.S. national team.
So I'll invite you to either listen to the English or the Spanish radio commentary on the New York City FC network. Roberto and Ariel have the Spanish. I'll have the English beginning at 7:15 with a pregame show. Kickoff here at TQL Stadium is 7:40. So thanks for everyone that joined us here, and we look forward to talking to you and describing the game in just a few minutes. Enjoy the game, everybody.